creeps through my window pane. Dreams of stars, now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup is a whisper. Conversations open doors, spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light. Consult the heart, make it sing. New perspectives on each wing. Every thought becomes so clear. From stations and bubbling streams, waking up to brand new dreams. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup was a whisper. Conversation.
Good morning. How are you guys doing? Did you wake up to that song? Because I know it always gives me so much energy. I end up dancing in my seat. I'm glad my headphones are on because it's full blast and it's 6 a.m. on the Pacific Coast. Good morning, guys. I am Melissa Houston, cultivator of dreams, motivator of human capital. And what that means for people like you is I help you get a plan together to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. And we get accountable, we get clear, we get real. And that's part of what happens in life when you want to change and when you want to address the bad. You have to assess it, right? You have to be honest. And I can think of many ways this happens in life. Others have said it better and longer. And I think of AA, you have to accept the things you cannot change the things you can, and have the courage to know the difference or the wisdom to, I don't know it all. Something like that is in the back of my mind. But taking accountability in their STEPS program is one of the first things, right? And as Melissa Houston, I have lived through many experiences in life, from being the daughter of an addict to overcoming many life challenges that come because of that fact. And so I just wanted to get real today. I know life sucks sometimes, be honest. Have you ever had your life feel like it sucked a little bit? Be honest in the comments. How you feeling today? And has life ever felt heavy? I know if you've been following me, we've talked about some pretty heavy topics in the past, especially this year. In the past 12 months, there have been numerous people who have passed, unfortunately, and out of nowhere, right? It wasn't coming. We didn't see it happening. It wasn't a long-term illness or anything of that nature. You add that to just the stuff everybody's seeing everywhere on the television every day. I don't care what colored crayon your political shade is. Truth is, everybody's welcome here. Everybody has an opinion. I'm a big fan of the Venn diagram. And I don't care what your color is, because in the center, we should all be overlapping. You do you in your house, but in the center where everybody exists, we should overlap and share and all become one color in that moment, right? We all get to take care of humans. And that's what we do at this show. So if you're new, welcome. If you have not subscribed, I can't speak this morning yet, please do so, because I feel like 3 years in the making this show has been, and lots of ripples there. Lots of good things have come from being able to show up for yourself over and over, and that's me included. Hosting the show is something that fills my cup as much as it pours into yours. And so I hope you keep coming back. It's very selfish of me to ask, but I really do. I hope you keep coming back. So just want to say hi to my friends in the comments, Chasen and Aaron and Paulette. Good morning, Kenneth Dunner. Savor the flavor, sir. We're going to get into it, right? If you guys want to learn more about me, if you're new to the show, please go to documentthenact.com. It's going to be on the slides, but really just, let's get into this, guys, right? One of the first things I think about when I think about mindset is the bad stuff, right? When I hear mindset, I don't always think bubbles and glitter. I do mostly on LinkedIn, but when I get over to those other platforms, I see a lot of reels and posts and trauma and drama and chaos. And I'm guilty. I was born with the internet. Like I was made before the internet, guys. Like I'm older than Google. Many of my friends are too. Hi, friends. So you remember, like, we have watched this thing grow and evolve and become this pool that we sometimes want to swim in, sometimes not, right? If I think about social media, I always think about like a water park where, if you go to the kid zone, you're probably not swimming in the cleanest waters because there's diapers on half of the swimmers in the kiddie pool. Whereas if you go maybe to the seniors, could be the same, could be cleaner. I don't know, but somewhere in between is where I like to hang out. And when I think about what we dive into, when I go to Instagram, I like to float and get fairy-like. It's very much the magical, mystical, right? When I go over to Facebook, I feel like it's this nonstop fight over which crayon color is better for politics. When I go to TikTok, it's kind of a blend of everything. There's some dancing, there's some politics, there's some chaos. What is your favorite, guys? Where are you at? And what do you do when you're overwhelmed? I bring up social media because most of us turn there, right? Doom scrolling. It's a trend that's out there. And the first thing you should do is not add more, in my opinion, right? When you're overwhelmed, if you already have a full cup of coffee, why would you go and pour more in? How much more do you need before you can process what's already there? And so thinking through that kind of mindset, guys, where do you go when you're overwhelmed? What are you doing when your brain is busy? When you know that maybe you need a break? When you know it's just too much right now? I really have to tell you, when it gets too much, I'm knocking things over. When it gets too much, I like to slow down. I slow down to speed up. You've heard me say it before, I'm certain. And it's one of those things we really have to do. When you take a nap, you wake up more rejuvenated. You can go further, right? How many of us have taken a pre-party nap? Or I'm going out with later, I need to take a little bit. I have a big event, show, whatever, right? I do this. And I also like to get clear before I do any big event. What do I need to bring? What should be in the bag? I do the same thing when I'm traveling, right? I have these checklists, so to speak, that help me make sure I don't lose my head. Aaron Gibson has been on the phone when he's like, all right, Wheels, do you have a this? Do you have a that? Is your phone in your hand? Of course it was. We were talking on it. Do you have your water? Do you have your bag? And I know you guys have them too, right? But my question is, how often do you have them for these moments of chaos, for these moments where the world is looking like it's falling apart? The sky is falling. Chicken Little is running around the house. It's all on fire. How do you get clear when you can barely breathe? That's a heavy question. Write that down, right? I want you to think about that. How do you get clear when you can barely breathe? Because as somebody who had suffered for years with really bad anxiety, I mean, incredibly bad to the point of hyperventilating, tears falling out of my face without permission, me just like arms out, please back up, just giving myself a bubble, a circle, to now I can just go, oh, my eyebrow said we should leave the room now. And we're just done before it starts. And that's the kind of clarity I want to give you guys, because I can't say I'm going to fix any mental health. This is not any kind of mental health cure all by any means. I'm not even certified in any of that, except maybe I need some mental health services. Ha ha, funny. But we all have something to work on. And I just have to tell you, I am a mindset coach. I do not have any credentialing to be a therapist or anything like that. But I got to tell you, my personal therapy, the way I have worked through things, is to get clear. And I got to give credit to whoever it was. And I can think of a church having us do this in a service, but I can't remember the first time. I know it wasn't the first time in the church that I did it, but it's the memory that keeps coming back. We were supposed to forgive, right? And as a Christian, I hear this a lot. You probably do too, whether you are or not, right? Forgiveness. And I think forgiveness is divine. I've heard that quote. I couldn't tell you who said it. I think it is important, though, that we get clear on what that means, right? And the church had said, please write your letter forgiving that person that hurt you most. They had me crying. I think it was like Easter Sunday or something. I don't know. I came in for something really sparkly and good juju feeling, whatever it was. And I got hit with a sack of just bricks. Because not only did I have to assess the person who had hurt me the most, but I had to run the list. I had to go through and figure out, well, which pain was the worst, which one stung. And I had to kind of run this list. I wasn't ready to run at the time, to be honest with you guys. I was very young in this situation, half my age now, maybe less than that, more, but yeah, baby, 20 maybe. And I just remember the hardest thing I ever did was write on that piece of paper that I was angry with my mom and that she had hurt me the most. And it was the first time I had ever done any kind of prompting to that degree where it moved me, right? Like I remember writing letters, maybe in elementary school, they always had us fill in the blanks for mom on Mother's Day or whatever. Maybe that's what I remember. But I just remember this one emptying me out. And I went in empty, guys. I didn't go to church back then when I was feeling good. I only went when I absolutely needed something. It is that Jelly Roll song. I only talk to God when I need a favor kind of vibe. You guys get it? Like, are you there? Am I losing you? Don't fall asleep. We're here. But when you get clear, you get momentum. And really what it did was it broke me down to, one, address my faith. Because if I really believe in forgiveness and all the things that this book is telling me and these people I just met are telling me about faith, then I need to forgive or I don't get forgiven. And FOMO and all that jazz, right? But then it was also the fact that, wow, I realized my mom was the one who hurt me more than anybody else in my life. And I had lived through a lot of stuff, but it was my mom's ripple in those moments that hurt. Now, I love my mom. And if you've read the books that I participated in, you know that I don't want anybody angry with her because I was angry enough, and we have forgiveness and we have healing, and she's gone now. She's passed. And so I say all of this with the utmost respect. And these are conversations she and I were able to have to some degree. which I'm grateful for. But when I got clear about who had hurt me the most, what was aching, what it was, I was able to address it. One, either go talk to mom about it or let it go. We either have to stop complaining. And I know this isn't complaining, but in my brain, this is my mindset at the time. Stop complaining or get to work. And most of the time we got to do both, because if you're working and complaining, you're probably miserable. And I don't want to be miserable. And so I had to figure out how I could forgive my mom for the hardest things I had ever lived through. And truthfully, when I started to dive into how, where, why, who, what my mom was, is, had become, who she hung out with, all those things, I realized my mom's ripple was because she had lived through her own ripples and never healed them. Right? And when I realized my mom was nothing more than the same little girl that I am, she just is in a more aged body, more of an aged version of her child. I realized, oh gosh, she's just a little girl who never figured it out. She's just me in the future, unless I change it. That clarity created momentum, right? My mom had suffered from depression. The depression led to wanting to feel good. The feel good meant partying. The partying meant drugs. And the drugs numbed her to some degree. It helped. Finger quotes, it doesn't help. Let me be very clear. Drugs do not help in that way. If they don't, long term, it's just not going to work out. However, temporarily, my mom felt nothing or something different than she had been feeling. And that's kind of how she described it to me, guys. But when I look at my mom's life before the drugs, I remember severe depression. I remember her being fired from her job because she broke down crying at a table. She had brought the wrong salad or soup or something, I don't remember. But she just started bawling and she couldn't stop crying for like 3 years. It was the last thing she could handle. And then the dam broke. And I remember just watching her sit on the couch, eyes rolling. She couldn't rally. She just couldn't. And then I remember seeing her get up and clean our house one day. And I remember her moving around and I was like, whoa, this is a completely different human. And it felt really good at first, right? But when I think about what she was doing, I really think she was trying to hide the pain. And that doesn't work long term. Again, not a medical person at all, not certified in anything. But I can tell you, as a mindset coach who talks to humans and listens and pays attention and has to read a room because of the environment she was raised in, I don't take people at their word a lot. And the reason I don't is because I'm a mom who can see a little kid say they're fine, but also I see exhaustion and I see needing a hug and I see somebody who's hungry and I see somebody who needs a diaper change and tucked in and just held for a minute. And I think a lot of humans get too busy to remember that part, but my mom is the reason I do. And I got to give her credit. Her trauma created perspective for me. And when I think about what I was thinking most often back then, I was negative. I was so negative. Guys, I was 20 something years old talking to doctors about why my body hurt like I was 45. I was told I was handicapped back then. I was told that I could have surgeries back then. And I was also told I wasn't going to be able to walk for 6 weeks maybe. And it would take me a while to get full speed, but I had a toddler. And I was getting really in my head. But when I thought about the thoughts that my mom had shown me through the years and the words she said, and we know if you say it out loud, you're probably saying it 50 more times internally and you repeat it and it gets uglier sometimes. We usually share the Disney version with our friends when we say, oh, we're not feeling good. Right? But really, it's a lot darker in there. It looks more like a scary movie in there. So when I think about what I was thinking then, when I was seeing then, it was a lot of negative. And truthfully, if you guys have followed me before, you know that I had thoughts of ending my life. At 16 years old, I sat on the side of the road And I genuinely considered just letting it be done. But instead, I sat down with the one thing I had, which was my notebook. It was after school. I didn't want to go home. Maybe, I don't know why, to be honest with you. I keep trying to think, and I just remember it was afternoon. It was Arizona. It was busy after school traffic, and I was on the side of the busy street. It was like a 6-lane street. And I had my journal, and I was just writing in this notebook. And it was that 80-page subject book we had to all have, 10 cents at Walmart or whatever, right? And I wrote out victim, just the word. And I just looked at it, and because I knew that's what some would call me, right? I was a victim to my circumstances. I was a victim to depression. I was a victim to mindset. I was a victim. I felt like a victim. I had been abused. I was living in a life where sexually, emotionally, physically abuse, like the abuse was around. And then they were abusing themselves with drugs. And then there's more stuff that comes from that, right? If you've ever been around it, I don't want to get too far into it. But the truth is, you can very quickly feel upside down in those moments when you're not allowed to leave. I'm a child. I have no authority in my life, or I don't feel like I do at the time, right? So I'm just really at the bottom. And then something, and I don't know what, guys, but I wrote down victory. And I just realized they are literally written the same way, VICT. And there was something poetic in my brain. I used to write poetry all the time at that age. It was my one outlet. And I just ran with it. And so victory and victim both start out the same. It's up to you how it ends. I believe it's so true. My grandma, I got to give her credit for a good portion of that. My mother's mother was hilarious. Hilarious. And she could sit in a room at a funeral, at a court trial, outside in the hallway waiting to be called in before the judge sees the person we love. In scary times at somebody's house where the police are on their way or just left or something, like all of these things had happened. And somehow she would find you in the room, sit next to you, and figure out a way to smile or laugh or find the silver lining in the cloud. And something that I really want to remind everybody is your thoughts are always at work. And I got to tell you, I love this visual. Some of this is made with AI, guys. I've been playing in the background on Canva. I just let it, I give it some prompts and it gives me that color. And so that orange, that pink, that blue, that was AI, right? I just wanted to share that because my thoughts are thinking how cool this image is. But I just layered it and here we are. But really, your thoughts are always at work. And even when I was thinking about this slide, I wanted to imagine 16-year-old Melissa sitting at grandma's house, thinking about life and what that looked like. And guys, you can change the filter on this image. You can change the color scheme to be blues or purples or reds or greens or whatever it is. But truthfully, when we get to work on our thoughts, we determine what shade they are. Are we angry? Are we down? Are we full of all of the colors, right? I think of Inside Out and how they have the balls of memories and emotions and all the things that happen. And I just think how each of them are their own color, right? And what are you letting take control of your mind? When I think of my grandmother, when I think of my mother, there are so many ways I could finger point, I could shame, I could be angry. Could they have been better parents? Absolutely. Can we all? Absolutely. There is not one human I know who doesn't have a story for their therapist. Not one. I don't care how good the parents were, if both were at home, if both weren't, if it was just mom, just dad. It doesn't matter the pay or the house size. Everybody has that story. What do you do with it? Are you still angry with them? Are you letting it control your life? I have an aunt who was like the biggest motivation not to become this human. I hate to say that. I really do, because she was my everything aunt. She was the aunt that was my favorite aunt forever. She took me to all the favorite places I want to go, Disneyland, all this stuff. But every time my grandmother's name came up, no matter what my grandmother did for her children, the one story that got told by this person was, we never had toothbrushes growing up. And it could have been true. She had 8 kids. She lived in a time where she couldn't get credit in her own name. There were all these things that keep getting said, but all I kept hearing was about one toothbrush as a kid. And so that's why everything's wrong in the world. And I just thought, man, what if I anchored into one moment? Because that's where it started. They went looking for a toothbrush one day and they didn't have it. And it could have been older siblings took off with it. It could have been they just didn't have it. I don't know. Kids do a lot of weird stuff. It could have been in the toy box for all I know, right? I don't know. But what if we get anchored into one moment in our life that seems silly to me now? And I know that I'm not trying to negate her trauma, because there's so much more behind that brush. It was, I didn't feel cared for. I wasn't provided for. I know the ripple there. I can pull that string and get it. But at what point do you stop pointing at that moment and say, I need to take responsibility for me today and stop looking back? Because your thoughts are always at work. Are you in forward momentum? Are we in forward thinking? Or are we looking at the past? When you think about your thoughts, when you get to be quiet and alone, are you happy? Are you sad? Are you mad? Are you dreamy? I talk about when I go over to Instagram. I love to doom scroll on Instagram when I'm not really in the mood for anything yet. I can't really pinpoint how I'm feeling. I'm kind of like hungry, but not hungry. I want something, but I can't pinpoint if it's salty or sweet kind of vibe, where I'm just, I don't know. I go to Instagram and I get inspired and I feel like a fairy little princess. And also sometimes Facebook. I live in both lanes over there. Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's fairyland. But I look at tiny homes with big kitchens and green everywhere and glass houses, right? Like, I dream big. Do I get sad? I can. But I set a timer, guys. And that's silly, but maybe it would work for you. So maybe you should write that down. I'm not telling you not to experience your emotions. I'm not telling you not to think about the stuff. I actually told you, get clear, write it down, do the things. How do you deal with it? What's in your head? But once you can be accountable for what those thoughts are creating for emotions, then it really helps, right? It really helps to understand who we are, what we're going through, why we're going through it, what it makes us feel. Sometimes it can be all of the above, right? That's a great part about a Venn diagram, especially with emotions, because you can be happy, sad, mad. You can be sad, mad. You can be laughing and crying at the same time. You can experience all of it. You could be so grateful, but also overwhelmed by the excitement in the room because there's too many humans saying happy birthday at one time and you didn't expect it. Oh my gosh, I didn't even catch my breath. People get overwhelmed in the happiest of moments. Brides cry at the altar, and they shouldn't be crying according to mom or grandma or whoever, right? But maybe there's somebody else in the room who goes, oh, I understand. She's so happy she can't even contain it. We have to be careful how we look at others processing too. And that's the thing, right? Imagine being the person on a bride's wedding day telling her she's not doing her day right. You shouldn't have done that. Oh man, the photos, you looked sad. Look, I don't care how I looked. I know what I felt. And I'm not saying that happened to me, guys. I was lucky enough. My pictures were on point. But imagine telling somebody they did their life wrong because it didn't meet your expectations of how you expected them to deliver that moment to you. Because that's what that is, right? And so let's be accountable for what we think and do. I love this too. I say it often. If you guys are new to the show, please just know this comes up a lot, but you will write your story either way. You are going to determine what your thoughts are. You are going to determine how much time you spend in any of those things. Now, I can tell you, I am not discounting biological depression or any of those things that you and your doctor might need to work in beyond the mindset work. But it's like a diet, guys. You can't just take a pill and be done. You got to put in the work. You got to exercise. You got to train your body to burn the fat without the pill. Now, some people will have to always have both, and that's cool. If your body doesn't create vitamin C, take vitamin C. If your body needs something, your doctor and you determine it's lacking, take it. And don't be ashamed to take it. I'm proud of you for putting in the work. I eat freaking oranges when I need vitamin C. And when that doesn't work, I go take the milligrams right out of the pharmacy because I get sick and I want to do 1,000 milligrams all of a sudden and really fight back, right? That's okay. I have been on antidepressants. I have been on anti-anxiety medicine. I am lucky enough to say I don't do any of that now, but I would happily go back, or maybe unhappily, depending on the moment, if my body told me I needed it. And I would share my journey because that's who I am, but you don't have to tell anybody. You really don't. Nobody needs to know what you and your doctor talk about. Nobody needs to know if this is where you are, unless you are alone in it. I'm saying nobody needs to know what you and your doctor are talking about, but in between those doctor's visits, if you feel more alone than you want to, please reach out to somebody. Right? I want you to own your feelings. Write them down. Even before you talk to somebody, sometimes it might help. Now, if you're really down, just reach out. And it's hard to do. I know it's hard to do, but if you're doing anything, try to make yourself feel better, right? Give yourself the ability to try before you decide. That's something that I lived in. And before I give up, before I determine somebody else is better, bigger, quicker, I give it a try. It can be as simple as the LinkedIn games today, right? Every morning I wake up right out of bed. I open my eyes, I pop open that game, and I play it. So I'm playing with one eye open. I haven't had water. I haven't emptied my bladder. I am literally playing it on expert level, coming out of a dead sleep to fight. It's something I do. It's because, you know what? No matter what, I am only fighting me yesterday. Am I able to get up and do this right out of? Can I activate the brain? And you know what? When I do, I don't care how good I am. I don't care where I rank. Usually I'm in the top 5, right? And I'm like, hey, look at me. Sometimes I'm 30 and I giggle and go, girl, you're tired today. Let's go wash our face. It's grace. But the other thing I do is I know my brain. As soon as I get that win on the board, if I just, one of those games puts me in the top 3, boom, girl, you're on fire. Let's go get the rest of the day done. It's a mindset I give myself. Sometimes it's calling a client. Sometimes it's adopting somebody to help. And I just give them a call and I'm like, hey, let's talk it out. And you know what? I'm sorry. I got to be honest. I use that time as much as they do, because when I can hear the shift, when I hear somebody going, oh, I don't know. And then at the end, they're like, yes, let's go. That's it. I feel better. They feel better. It's beautiful. And you know what? You got to give yourself the pep talk sometimes. What's cool about a coach is they give the pep talks when they need it, right? Hi, William. I'm seeing you guys. Hey, Jason, thank you. I'm looking at you guys. I'm just going to take a minute because I realized I'm 30 minutes in, haven't said hello. William says, Melissa, thank you for helping guide my next steps. You are very welcome, sir. It's small conversations that can have a big ripple, guys. And I just want you to be accountable for your story. You're the captain of your ship. Annette, yes, ma'am. The thing is it's easy to give up. It's why most people do. It's why most entrepreneurs close within the first year and most don't make it past 5. And you have to determine what you will and will not do. Disney would not be Disney without Walt going, F you, I'm going to keep investing in myself. Forget you, I got to keep going. And this is not verbatim quotes. Please, Disney, don't come after me. I'm just saying Walt could not give up. Walt was not going to let them say no. And so for me, a big fan of Disney, I'm looking at all of these princesses coming out of the tower, not giving up, fighting the whole dang village with one other person. And somehow they still win. They beat the villain. They kill the queen. They do it, right? I am not responsible for somebody who planted this seed for me. I don't know. My mom was really good at ABC on Sunday nights. She told me I was Tinkerbell even, so I was a little anchored into the glitter and magic and stuff. But guys, this is something you have to determine. What matters so much to you that you don't care what anybody says? Where you said, watch, I'm going to do a flip. And your friends are like, don't do a flip. And then you did the flip and they're like, whoa, you did a flip. Right? Because fear stops a lot of people and you're going to either push on or you're not. Jay says, I do wonder, is it always a good idea to reveal our story and thoughts on social media? That's a great question that we have to determine for ourselves. I have bosses, right? I work for a corporation. And while I am a coach and I have been my own employer, I took a rest on somebody else's payroll. And I mean that with love, because yesterday we were number one performing store in our district over plan percentage-wise. And yes. But I had to determine what I write on social based on what their criteria is and who I am as a human. And I have to move accordingly. It's the Venn diagram, the overlap of both of us. What I do in my private time, maybe not so publicly, doesn't affect them. But anything I do while I'm overlapping with them would. And so I'm very careful to be honest about who I am. I am proud to work for an organization that believes in DEI and that focuses on people being who they are and ride your own ride and doing it your way. The motorcycle industry is one of the most diverse I've ever seen in my life. It's the most welcoming I've ever seen in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. However, not everybody wants to hear every story I have to tell. And I have to be careful, right? Like that Instagram versus Facebook versus LinkedIn. Sometimes you'll see me on TikTok, like figuring out which Disney character I am. I don't do those face videos on LinkedIn. Doesn't mean it's not still my story, but maybe you just pick your channels, right? And determine your why. What is the purpose of posting to social? That would very much determine on how I would respond to that. And I help clients with this often, with their marketing messages, staying on point, making sure we don't go too far from the goal and having that accountability, because we do want to share. And sometimes we overshare and sometimes we undershare. And sometimes we think we told the story we told and we didn't actually cover it at all. Right. And so it's good to have that accountability, maybe have somebody to bounce ideas off of and get it out there. But I think, honestly, you have to move in what moves you. Fun and passion. And if you're passionate enough to post anyway, then maybe you should assess why and how you're doing that. What is it that moves you to want to post in spite of? What is it that makes you want to share your story? No, even though you know that there will be trolls, there will be people who talk crap, there will be people who go out there and create energy that's negative or anti-message, right? And that's fine. That is their passion to do. I'm going to let those humans who are watching both of us assess on their own what they're going to do with that. That's not my energy to deal with at all, right? And I got to tell you guys, I've been loving the AI backgrounds. The flowers here were that. I added the rest, but I loved this because I really like the florals, the pinks, the softness. But what if you didn't want to be a pink flower? What if you wanted to be more cartoon-like? Or what if you wanted to be different? What if you got to determine what pops up out of this stem? And you could be any color, shape, petal, style, any area from anywhere in the globe. Your flower could be your flower, and you could make your own. You could do whatever you wanted. You could make it a monster flower. You know how the kids do with the cars and then they turn into, Teslas. Or a monster mystery flower that lets you bloom your way with all that makes you you. This is what it's about. Because you know what? Kim Kardashian, I use her a lot in just a reference point, because if I think social media, I think Kardashians. I really do. They have figured it out. They each have their own way of doing it. While there is something consistent, if I look at a Kardashian flower, there's definitely overlap there. But then each of them stands on their own in their own way. And I think it's cool when you can overlap. And I see a lot of friends in the audience that do a lot of overlapping cool stuff. But what is it that makes you you? How do you deal with you when it gets heavy? How do you push in spite of? Because I'll be honest, guys, I am not for everybody. And I know that might shock you. I know, say shocked if you're shocked, and you can laugh with me because I know I'm not. Chocolate's not even for everybody. We've talked about that too. If chocolate can't be for everybody, then I never will be. If there are people who hate Kim in spite of all of her, fame and fortunes, then I'm never going to be 100%. And that's okay. I don't want to be. If I'm not making you uncomfortable, then I'm not pushing you. Oh, what did I say? I said, if I did not push you or make you feel uncomfortable, then I would not be a good coach. Because truthfully, we should all be working with people who make you question what they just said and really reflect and contemplate. And if it feels that way, why did she make me feel that way with that statement? Why did her telling me I don't need to be a pink flower make me feel upset? Or, I don't know. Someday you'd be shocked at some of the messages I've had about what people get upset about by what I say, or, impassioned by. I don't even want to say upset, but just like, it's cool. Let's bring that passion out, but you got to do it your way. What is your way? And do you know? When we come back to this concept of your thoughts at work, what are those things you're letting flow in and out of your brain? Is it magical? Is it a place where you want to go hang out? Is it something you can post on Instagram and 1 million people want that life too? Are you angry? Is it ugly? Are you demeaning yourself? Building yourself up? Tearing yourself down? Because you don't have a lot of options with the way the mind works, right? You're either flowing in a positive way or you're not. You're either in control of your thoughts or you're not. You're either going to take responsibility for your thoughts or you're not. I will be opening up the stage at the top of the hour, guys. I just want to let you know. But something that I love here, and I've shared before in a different show, Mark Cuban. It's not in the dreaming, it's in the doing. And so that's the other thing. If we are in control of our thoughts, and our thoughts are always at work, always, 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 even when you're sleeping, your brain is functioning. Not a scientist, go do your own homework. There's tons of documentaries on this, but it's always working. And I don't know if you've ever woken up from a dream and just written it down. Like, oh my gosh, I had a dream I was on the beach and I had an umbrella and, my toes were in the sand and this person was with me. Maybe it was family getting together on an event you've never had, that reunion you guys have always planned but never got together. Maybe it was a new business. $1 million idea hits you in the middle of the night. I know Dave Knoll he's on LinkedIn. You can go check him out. He is the guy who's responsible for Chopped. And he's got a partner. I don't remember his partner's name. Sorry, partner, if you're out there. But he talks about in his book and online and everywhere he talks about how he has a little journal with him, a planner, a book that's always next to his nightstand. And every time an idea hits him, whether it's in the middle of the night or not, he will just jot it down. And he has hundreds upon hundreds of ideas out there. And he just puts them in the book. Well, if you go look at his profile, I think he's got 47 Emmys, guys, or something silly. I'm probably misquoting. I'm not looking at it because I'll get distracted. But the guy captures his ideas. He's a brilliant mind. He's trained his mind to constantly be on the lookout for these things, right? He's got a good set of eyes. He understands humans. He's observing what they love. He's into game shows, things like Chopped. And, I can't even think of it. Chopped is at the top of my head right now, but he's got so much under his belt. And yet he doesn't stop. And every time he wakes up with a new idea, he writes it down. And then he gets to work on it. Mark Cuban is a name we all know, right? Do you know who Mark Cuban is? Can you tell me one thing you know about Mark Cuban? Because if I'm going to jump ahead, and you're welcome to still throw it down when you do, Shark Tank. What I know about Mark Cuban is I wanted to be a second mind to him when I was dreaming about my dream job. When I thought about the kind of role I wanted when I was leaving being somebody else's employee, I really thought about people like Mark Cuban, where I would just love to sit in the rooms he's in and just be at the table and go, oh, but what about this? Oh, but did you think about this? And what if we approached it this way? Oh, we should call Bob for this. We should call Sally because she's really good at this part. All I wanted to do was sit there and be that extra mind that just assessed the things that maybe were floating around the main circle, right? Just the bubbles, the extra stuff, the glitter, the cherry on top for those ones who are already out there being brilliant. And if you look at my client list, it's kind of who I pick for clients too, because I wanted to do that thing. And I'm not waiting for Mark to call me yet. He can call me at any time, but I'm going to be active until he does. Yeah, I'm going to be active until maybe we're on the same stage together, not just him calling me for coaching or anything like that, or consulting, but just sitting next to each other going, this is cool. I love these entrepreneurs. What do you think was the coolest that they presented today? Right? Maybe we do Shark Tank Junior or something together. I don't know. But when I allow myself to write that down as a goal, you guys know the power. We've heard about manifestation, right? The Bible, we've talked about my faith. I believe words have power. It says so in the book that I believe in. But I also know that I'm one of those woo-woo kind of people, and my gut tells me things. And when my gut says, hey, call so-and-so, hey, somebody's on your brain, I just reach out and go, why are you on my brain? Hey, you know what? I had a need to talk to you. Something told me we should chat. And I act on that feeling. And so I want to come back to the question of, what are you thinking most often? Are you writing them down? Even if you don't act on them, right? Even if you're like, I should call Sally. I should donate time at the church. I should clean my bottom drawer. I should, you fill in the blank. I don't know. What do you should? Right? Write them down, because the things that pop in our brain pop in for a reason. If our minds are always working, always working, when something is brilliant enough to jump over all of that junk, movement, chaos that is in our brain, right? Felipe, chaos. When that happens, and we're able to capture that moment, that thought, that one, that there's space and time, and write it down, we do something for ourselves that I can't even really put a value on, guys, at all. That documentation in action, right? We've talked about it. But if your brain can only capture so much in a day, if you're a busy individual like I am, if you want to play in all of the colors, right? They say niche down, niche down. I don't want to. My niche is humans. Okay, I promise not to talk to the puppies unless you're not in the room. And then I'm going to talk to the dog, and I'm going to pet the dog, and I'm going to rub the dog, and I'm going to say hi to the dog, and we're going to be best friends. I won't coach the dog. I promise. I've niched. I'm human focused. Thanks. That's my TED Talk. Also, I'm not silly enough to think I can be everything to everybody. So I don't offer a really set in stone kind of coaching program, right? What I offer is promise of time, promise of accountability, promise to listen and assess and work together to create a plan, and then hold you accountable to the plan. And when you do that, guys, you don't have to niche down. You don't, because you're allowed to be a mom, a grandma, a businesswoman, a store manager, a coach, a consultant. Sometimes I'm the football coach. Sometimes I'm the mindset coach. Sometimes we're going to church and we're praying together and we're in the Bible and we're quoting scripture. It depends on the client and the need. But if I tried to bundle that in a package for you, I couldn't. So what do? I say, hey, here's some circles, guys. Here are the circles I like to play in. This is what I can do. I've done all of these things in my life, and this is what I want to teach you to do with your life. You are all of these circles too. You are allowed to have overlapping moments, and a lot of them do, and some of them never will. When I'm in my Chamber of Commerce events, when I was there sitting with everybody, hobnobbing, doing the things, my family wasn't there. They weren't in the circle. They were absolutely on the left side of the Venn diagram, and on the right side was the business part, right? So if we look at the pinks and the purples here, or if you guys aren't color, being able to see the colors, it's the big left circle, big right circle. If that's family and business, and then we start looking at the different parts of business, it could be the marketing, it could be the leadership, it could be the coaching, the training, whatever it is, right? Some of that coaching and training might overlap in the center with my family. I'm a mom. I'm teaching the kids how to grow. I'm coaching the family to new heights by stop wasting water, turn off the utilities, whatever it is, right? You have to figure out your overlap, but everybody is more than one circle. There is not one human I know who is only business. There's somebody who likes to read, romance novels that have nothing to do with their business plan. There's somebody out there who likes to get artsy when they're not in their accounting spreadsheets. And really, if you ever saw the accounting spreadsheets before they sent over, they're 57 shades of purple and green and red and yellow, and they only make it all white to send it to you because maybe you don't like the color. It's shocking what you will see if you let people be them and not have to fit a mold. When I walked into the accounts payable department one day, I saw the spreadsheet that was just lit up, and I was like, oh, it's so pretty. What is that? And she explained, my brain needs it to be sorted, and it's so hard when it's all one color. And so I just assigned the colors, and I loved it because elementary school and highlighting, and everybody gets a color. At work now today, everybody has a color. When they come in, they get to pick their favorite color highlighter if it's not taken, and when they're going through their paperwork, when they're looking at their goals, when they're looking at their outcomes, when they're looking at KPIs or reports, everything's highlighted for their color so they can quickly sort the data. A Venn diagram with different colors of circles and different ways to apply it can be the same, right? It can be every facet of your life. And that's why I love this tool. And it's not the power of the circle. The circles are cool, but it's the questions you apply to the circles that matter. That's where I take my clients. I can share circles all day, and you can look at the circles and go, ooh, pretty. But if you've never sat down to figure yourself out at 5 years old as a billionaire, if you've never figured out what you want to be when you grow up, if you've never taken yourself from a high school football player to an NFL player with a couple circles, then we should probably chat, right? These are the simple things where it sounds silly to be able to take a high schooler and make them an NFL player with it. But when you get clear, when you have clarity, when you know what people are looking for, when you know what the requirements are, a job description, when you get clear on what they're looking for, you can customize your resume. If you use a Venn diagram for job description versus where you are today, right? What you've done before, what they're asking for, what your resume says, you can get that overlap Venn diagram and just highlight that center part that really will pop for them. They don't need to know about the job that doesn't really matter. So take less time talking about the skills that they don't care about. Clarity equals momentum. A clean and concise resume will get you moving forward much faster than one that's busy, distracting, and takes too long to read. Are you guys still there? How are we feeling? Do you guys want to come on stage? Definitely message me if you want the link. I would love to know how you're feeling on this, if you have any questions you want to work through. But here's the other thing I want to say before I do bring people on. Clarity doesn't always mean ease. Being clear does not mean it's going to be easy. Having momentum does not mean it's not going to be like running through a thorn bush. Sometimes it's going to hurt to get clear. Sometimes it's going to hurt to move forward. We have to anyway. For those of you who weren't at my last show, I shared some stuff I've been going through. Unfortunately, my husband and I split just after our 18-year anniversary together. It was due to a situation of domestic violence. He is not allowed back at the house at this time, and there's some ongoing court stuff, so I'm not going to get into all the details by any means. but it's had a ripple, and it provided clarity, and it created a need to build momentum and move forward in spite of. So when I'm talking about these heavy moments, guys, when I'm talking about how this works, I need you to know that I am living this first. I don't ask anybody to run through thorn bushes I have not first jumped through. If I have not done it, I will tell you I have not done that. I can help you figure out how to do it because these are my tools available to me, or we can call in a friend. That's just honesty. But then going back to Jay's question of how much do we share and when and how and why, and it comes back to a personal choice. I don't want to share everything of myself with everybody all the time, but I do want to be here for 2 hours a week. I do want to be available to my coaching clients. I do want to show up for my team where I am. I want to provide the best Melissa Houston experience I can provide to anybody who gets to meet Melissa Houston, however she meets you. Sometimes I can't. And that's the other part of clarity, guys. Sometimes people want to be included in a moment in your life. They need you to show up when you can't. And there are a lot of people out there who want to please. And I was talking with, I want to say it was Aaron. I got to be careful because I'm not sure, Aaron. I'm sorry if I'm misquoting you, and I'm sorry if it wasn't Aaron and you're listening. But the point of what I'm about to say is you have to be ready to do the thing. And sometimes people want you to show up when you don't have it. I was talking with some people on Thanksgiving. I sent a lot of messages out. I was very limited in who I spoke to directly on that day. And I was mindful about it. One, I didn't want my ripple to change somebody else's day. I am very careful about who and where I tap into energy, or try to be, because I don't want to make it harder for somebody I know who is already having a hard time. And so I try to be mindful of that. I also want to talk to people who are not going to be triggered by my experience if I share it, so living through domestic violence, having done it before, there were moments where I could have reached out to some, and then I thought maybe I shouldn't, because I don't want to either trigger them or have them trigger me. Sometimes their trauma is shared to care, like sharing is caring, right? And I had to be mindful of that. There are other things that happened. When I was separating from my husband, it was also at a time where I had lost a rider, one of my customers, somebody I called one of my kiddos at work, somebody I knew by first name when he came in. Always kind of smile, good kid. And it was happening just on the back end about a month later. And this time after the losses, I didn't have my spouse to lean on, right? And it was different. And I had to process that. On top of that, the next day was my daughter's birthday, and I had to tuck those feelings to the side so she could have her day with me fully aware of her perspective. She is experiencing her birthday for the first time without both parents around, having lived through this experience with me, just dealing. And so these are the things where I'm clear on, but I know my forward momentum, as much as it's achy, as much as it hurts to know that my goal of life, right? Because I was the kid who really did want to be married for my whole life. My lifetime goal, then trying to get married, and Jeremiah, my fiance, guys, I don't know if you all know this, but I had been engaged prior to being married, and my fiance passed away 3 days before the wedding at 27 in his sleep. And so then to have that taken and I call it taken, but that moment just not come to fruition, right? To have that not work out the way we had planned. I wasn't sure I would get another chance. And then I meet my husband and we get 18 years. But I was thinking long term, on the porch, old people, all this stuff, right? In spite of where I am today, I still know we're moving forward. I still know I'm coaching. I still know that this week I've had so many wins that I'm excited for. Some of them were not mine, some of them were other people's, but I got to see people I've coached, people I've trained, people who came to me and shared my ripple with them without being asked or engaged on it. I had a colleague of mine in the retail chain call and say, "You're the backbone of the managers. I had to call you to ask because I knew you'd know." And I had to sit there for a second. They could have called anybody and they called me. And I thought that was really cool. Right. And so, guys, clarity is momentum. We can control our thoughts. I have a million thoughts going through my head at all times, if you can't tell. But we have to be in control of what that looks like. We have to make sure that we're writing our story our way. And so, coming back to it, before I invite my friends on stage, your thoughts are always at work. You have to determine what kind of work they're doing. Is it good, helpful thinking? Is it planning? Is it dreaming? Or is it something different? Also, guys, if you're just joining me, please go check out documentthenact.com. Learn who I am. Read about the services I can offer. Also, please go subscribe. I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, live streaming right now, but I'm everywhere. Go find me all over the internet. If you want to find me, go look for Document Then Act, because that's what we do around here. Okay, I am going to bring a friend here to the stage, Miss Deb Hawes. I want to bring you up first. You came in first. How are you doing?
Yay! Sorry, my voice is all husky. I am doing well, Melissa. It was so exciting to see that you were going live and it popped up in my. And I was awake, which is also another big important thing. So as soon as I saw your name, I was like, I need to listen to this woman because she is freaking awesome.
I love that so much. So what's coming up for you right now? What are you hearing in the show? And
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I acknowledge you. Not only because I've known you now, I think it's a year that I've known you, maybe longer. That I, you
ooh,
know,
I
that.
can go look at your LinkedIn and tell. Hold on. I'll do that.
um, and I love what you've been creating with your business. I admire you and acknowledge you for sharing what is an incredibly personal and can be really devastating situation. And you always do it with this grace and this love for human beings that just emanates from who you are. So I had to, jump on because of that to let you know that.
Oh,
Um,
I love your face so much. Thank you so much for that. Also, we met October 28th of 2024 is when we connected.
oh, okay, cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but I was probably listening to you and following you before that. I was the stalker before that.
I love
Um,
stalkers. I
just
don't really, if you're really a stalker, don't do it
yeah,
because this is
but you know
primaries. But
exactly you know
yeah,
exactly what I mean though. It's like you hear voices or you see people that you know this. I mean, you talk about this. The people that are saying a message that resonates for you on a certain level and everything about you was like this woman is awesome. I need to get to know her. And so, and now here I am a year after this, like almost exactly a year, a little over a year. And at the time, I was like, I want to start a business because I'm so burnt out on corporate right now. And I was laid off from a 24-year career. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And it's wild to be here a year later and your messages are resonating on a completely different level. Does that make sense? Like the what you're talking about, I feel like I have lived experience of it now.
I love
Um,
that for you because it does hit differently when you revisit messages or when you hear something later. Like I watch these Christmas movies now, right? Miracle on 34th Street. When I was a kid, I always wanted Santa to bring me a house. Now I'm looking at it as the grown up going, oh, there's stuff to learn from a different way, right? I actually want to be
Yeah.
Santa Claus a little bit in the movie now, but
Yes.
it is a
Uh,
different perspective, and that's exactly it. Just revisiting the mindset, right? I used to love Little Mermaid as a kid, and now I'm like, she's so grounded. She's so grounded. Get to your room. Go to your room. You're grounded. You don't get to talk to Eric and go walk on the shore. But I wanted to be part of his world a minute ago, right? And it's just so funny that when you step into that growth stage, then it resonates differently. And I think it's the same with the flower, because you have all of those elements happening at all times around you to grow. It's sunshine, the water, the whole thing. But when they're in the soil, they don't care about the sunshine. And when they're out of the soil, they don't care as much, right? Their roots are doing the work and they get to just bask in the glory of the sun. And it's a different feeling. But it's so cool to have you say that you can understand that, because you are growing then. That's so cool.
It is the growing, and honestly, looking back on it now, for so many years, and this is not, I'm not saying this as like I'm upset about it or anything like that. It's just really putting what I've learned into perspective. Is when I was in corporate and I wasn't questioning it, and I was simply doing what I needed to do to make the money that I thought I needed to live the life that I thought I wanted. I did not realize the extent to which I had pushed down my dreams, that I had limited myself, limited what was possible, limited what was possible in the future. And it was only after, you know, you know, partial hospitalization for burnout, for depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation after being laid off from a 24-year job, after, you know, all sorts of interesting, fun things, trying to find a job in the current market and all that other stuff. It's it's a hard thing for some people to face, but growth happens in those places. Growth happens in the places. Growth doesn't happen when you're being comfortable. That's literally what I would have to say now. Growth happens in the spaces where you're uncomfortable, and being uncomfortable doesn't have to be uncomfortable. If that makes any sense at all, Melissa.
It does. I love that so much, because guys, we used to talk about it all the time. And Deb, I know you've been around, so you probably heard this, but it's that energy of fear and excitement come from the same parts of the brain. And
They
again,
do.
they do, right? And I am not at all a doctor, but I'm a big nerd, guys, and I love learning this stuff. And as somebody who had anxiety, I had to learn to tell my body, this is energy, this is fuel, this is that starting, because I was a sprinter right before arthritis took me. I used to run hurdles, and I went to the All City. It's a long story. I was going to perform that day, but I had run away. My mom said she was not going to let me. So I didn't go, but I went All City because I was good.
Yep.
And when I thought about that starting line, and what made me jump off the line so much faster than the rest was that energy, that excitement, and being able to put it into that moment. It's the same with a boxer who can focus their punch and that energy of landing it and hit exactly
Ooh, I
where they
love
need
that.
to.
Oh, Melissa, I love that analogy. Oh,
It's true though. And so when you learn to harness it, right, you're standing up at the top of the diving board, you're scared as all get out. You're either going to use that to bounce, or you're going to have to shaky leg, go back down. And honestly, shaky leg is worse. Shaky leg is
it
so
is.
much
Shaky leg
worse.
is worse. It is always worse. And this is the other thing that I've been learning. Well, there was about a year ago, I realized I really felt the extent to which I had allowed fear to determine everything in my life. Like it was it was like a moment of like, oh my God. And then it was like, oh man. And the realization of that actually gave me power. And it gave me the power to feel the fear and not allow the fear to be the thing that limited me from taking action.
That's it. Because listen, life's going to happen either way, guys. You've seen the movies, right? We're going to think about those action movies where Godzilla is coming. You see some of them start moving. You see some people start moving as soon as they hear a rumble. They don't even care what the rumble is. They're like, bye, I'm out. I don't care. I'll read it on the news tomorrow. You have others who are like running with their head turned half back, and they're running into the light post because they're not seeing where they're going because they're watching over their shoulder. And then you have others standing there going, oh, Godzilla. And they get 8. There's only one good way to move, and that's forward with your eyes focused, or you're in trouble.
Oh my
Like,
God,
stop looking back.
you painted the most wonderful picture just that I can see the whole thing.
But guys, it's really up to us to determine that, right? And that's the thing, is it's not going to stop being scary. I can't stop Godzilla. I can't even stop things happening in my own life. But what I can control is what's at work, always in my brain.
Yes.
And I know me, and I know what I'm capable of. And I know I've won every battle I've faced to this point. And this one is just a new hurdle. It's a little bit higher than it used to be. I'm a little more tired, and I got some achy hips now. But let me back up a little extra run time. Give me just a moment, and I will get it together. And that's the glory of this show, guys. That's literally, Deb, I love your share. I have Bill here who wants to come on stage, and William Rochelle is a new friend of mine. I met him because of all the chaos he is doing in my circle of friends. And I love what he's doing, guys. If you're not following him, definitely follow Deb too. Follow them all. But Bill, I mean, let's talk about thoughts at work, my friend. You have been, I've heard you say my name, and I am so grateful for all the ways you're saying my name everywhere. Yeah, talk to me. How are you feeling? What's coming up for you in this?
I'm feeling, first of all, good morning, everyone. I'm not a morning person, but I'm here for this. I'm feeling refreshed. Yesterday, when I went to bed, I looked at my living room and I literally said, it looks decent. I'm not finished, right? I have all sorts of things to do, but I can see things and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The way that you work is magnificent, and it's not intrusive, but you challenge people. It's very, very cool. And you check in every day, and I don't know you. we're getting to know each other, right?
Absolutely.
So with that, it's been phenomenal. It's very interesting. I talked to my ex-wife last night, and I said, I'm working with this coach, and she said, "How much are you paying?" And I said, "Well, Aaron did something, and Melissa, and things are going well, and what it's costing is not the issue. It's what I'm getting out of it. And you're not only working on me, but you're also working on my professional, my home life, and my personal life. And for that, I will be forever grateful. Forever grateful.
But as professionals, guys, let's talk about that overlap. If my house isn't okay, my professional life is not probably either, because the professional life will be intruded on by thoughts, phone calls from home. I'm not focused. Heck, guys, I've had debt collectors call me at work when I was younger, a single mom and whatever. I could not focus on my job because I was worried they were going to shut off my lights at home. And I had to be at work to pay the lights, but I couldn't focus because they kept bothering me while I was at work.
Right.
And so you have to get it all together. I don't know about the other ADHD, magical, alphabetical people in the crowd, but do you work better on a clean desk, or do you like your doom piles while you're trying to be creative and focused? Right? And Bill, I see me in you a lot. I see that person who's passionate. I see you having fun. I see you really great at your craft and harnessing that and showing up for yourself. Same spot every day, tapping the tree. But I also was like, I see something else. Let me talk to him. I got to get a hold of him. And Aaron's like, yeah, let's get him on the phone with you. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And here we are. And I didn't try to push, but I also knew I had to tell you what I saw. I was honest, I was clear, and it created momentum. Right.
Yeah. And this is my season of yes, by the way. Just not fighting. I went with the flow. I just let it go.
And honestly, this week, and we don't have to talk about what you've done, but how much progress do you think you've made versus the week before, even like momentum wise? Where did this clarity take you?
So we could be honest. Felipe knows. He knows very, very well. Um, so I was in a depression, and it was manifesting in the way that my house looked, and the way that I was sleeping and walking and everything, guys. And depression is real, but at the same, it's real, period. And I was wrestling with what am I going to do next, and I can't take any more rejection. So I started treating my home like I was about to lose it. So what I have done, and it's not clean yet. I started this on Wednesday, Melissa, and it's Saturday, and I'm still cleaning my house. I'm still not willing to share photos with you, but I'm almost there. How's that? I'm almost ready.
This is what I'm going to say, guys. We spoke on Wednesday, and he's almost in a spot where he is ready to let others in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when we talk about rejection, like by acting in that way, you were allowing yourself to reject everybody else because you weren't going to bring us in.
Right.
And
no one, even my neighbors that knock at the door, I have to walk outside. No one could come in.
yeah. And now it's something where I was like, we're going to get your windows open. Depression, right? Like I used to make my mom open the windows. Let's get some sunshine in because we can't grow without sunshine. Sunlight is a thing humans need. And truthfully, there's a lot of things we all need. We all know it. We need rest, water, food. We need people to care for us and help us pluck away the weeds when we can't tend our garden. And that's all it is. But if you're really about the business, like, and I'm not saying coaches aren't, but I'm about the business of paying attention. I assess before I act. I really look at things and figure it out. And then the other thing, and I didn't share this slide yet, but I want to share this moment, is I talk to people a lot about like preschool and being in elementary school and kindergarten and having different stations and play places where we can play. And guys, when I hated one station because the paste wasn't pasting, the scissors weren't scissoring, whatever it was, right? Like the person next to me stole my blue crayon. I don't care. I could get up and change the table and I could go play with other people and I could do something different. And if you guys aren't allowing yourself that shift, that I don't want it this way anymore, I need to do it differently. And honestly, the first thing I told William was something to the effect of like, congrats on saying this was enough, like being done with that part of your life. Because I've been in the spot where I've had doom piles. I think we all kind of showed our desk that day. It was Aaron, Bill, and I. We were all talking, and I was like, look at my desk. And Aaron, show him your desk. And ADHD people have 57 bottles of water on their desk.
Okay.
All time,
Okay. So right now, my house probably looks like the clutter that you guys showed.
But that's okay. That is progress. And you know what, guys?
It is progress.
Owning
It
this
is.
live in front of friends and professionals and the trolls and all the people, right? It's huge. That is such a big thing. And I don't even know if you understand how proud I am of you for just even being honest about it. Because what I do, sharing my story, is not the easiest. I've had people come at me, call me terrible things because I should be at home in the kitchen, come at me and tell me they wanted to do things to me that got them reported for sexual harassment. You open a door to everybody assessing and judging, because that's what I'm, especially me, I'm telling you to assess. And so if you're not assessing me, you're not listening. But it's in what makes us move, and you're moving. You assess what you liked and what you didn't like. And you got up from the table you were sitting at, you put down your toys, and you moved to a different room. And that's cool, dude. It really is, because not everybody can tackle it. I remember going to my mom's house once a month and doing I'm pulling the couch away from the walls. I'm wiping the walls down. I'm pushing it all back, vacuuming the whole thing, just because I knew she couldn't rally in her downtime. And so the fact that you can is just really cool. I'm really proud of it. And you guys, if you're not rallying right now to that degree where you can't just like turn it all on and get to work, do one bag. Take one little small grocery bag and just clean off the nightstand so you could put more junk on it while you lay there. Like Absolutely. Literally, if that's all you do, just do that. If you just shower, brush your teeth, wash your face. I'm proud of you. I've said this in a
Proud.
reel before because sometimes people don't even do that. But please, you will never have friends if you don't brush your teeth. Like we want to get close, but we can't whisper to you, buddy. It's morning breath time. But be willing to accept what your friends tell you too, because if William wasn't open, he wouldn't have done the work. If Deb didn't open herself up and be a little stalker and listen in and not tell me she was listening, she wouldn't have done the work to see the difference in the conversation today. There are so many people I talk to, and I'm just like, I'm so grateful that they're telling me that I've had the ripple, because not everybody always shares that stuff, guys. Like Deb hid it for 12 months. Dang it, Deb. Just kidding. But owning the growth is important. And that's the other reason to share, guys. If somebody helped you go from point A to point B, just saying, hey, this person helped. It's not just you. It's you that you're like, it's not them just being helped. It's you. You're acknowledging what you've accomplished. And I think people forget that part and don't want to brag. And I think you should. Bill, go ahead.
I also wanted to share this. As everyone knows, most people know I have dogs. And to be honest with you, Melissa, once I opened the windows, the dogs went crazy. They're so much happier. Right now, Bruno is sitting out, just looking out the window and barking at people. He's totally excited. And the other thing that I put into motion after we spoke, you told me to take mini breaks. So my mini breaks have been me walking to the marina and back. And I've been doing it like 3 times a day. I had gotten so depressed that I would walk my dogs to the front yard. As soon as I peed, we would go back into the house. So it has gone beyond that. And I also think I told you I had a morning coffee with my neighbor, Steve, the next day after we used to talk, because you told me to start socializing and meeting people. All of that is included in what Melissa has done for me this week.
I didn't do anything but say, hey, I see you, buddy. What are you doing?
That's all you needed to say.
That's it. But guys, that's it. Sometimes you just need somebody to go, I see you. Also, I'm going to check in on you again tomorrow, because I'm going to keep seeing you until I see you differently. And then you're still going to be around because, now I know you. And I apologized the first time I met him. I was like, I'm sorry in advance. Now you know me. You're in trouble. I don't know. But guys.
But it's a good trouble.
It is a good trouble. And I like making good trouble. And I've pushed buttons. But sometimes those people come back and go, you were the one person who was willing to tell me the one thing I needed to hear that day. And I hated you for it for 6 months.
I never.
No. Not you, but others. And then I'm like, it's okay. Because I hated God for a long time too, before I forgave him for taking my fiance and then giving me the husband. And then now I'm sitting here going, well, I'm not going to hate on God this time, because, I believe and I see and I do the things a little differently. But I'm allowed to be mad that my life's not where it is. But I approach it differently. I pray on it. I'm like, God, remove these bricks. What are you doing? Remove the bricks you did in place. What are you doing? You're anointing me. And guys, I've even gone so far now that when I get ready in the morning, it is perfume. It is, but it's a perfume oil. And I will pray as I'm putting the oil on, because why not? And you know what? I have felt extra fluffy this week. It's simple stuff, and it could be a mindset and it could be a placebo, but you know what, baby, it works. Let it happen. And it's working for you, Bill. Deb, it sounds like you want to say something real quick too. Did you come off to add?
Yeah, I did. 2 things. So the ripple that you created for me, Melissa, was the realization that I could be myself and say the feral feminist parts of myself and not be afraid of it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You gave me the permission to be myself. And then Bill, from you, kudos to you, sir, for reaching out when you knew you needed help, because there are so many people that don't. There are so many people that suffer and keep suffering, and those are the people that you hear horrible stories about because they didn't have the courage to reach out. I don't even know if it's courage. I think they just maybe gave up whatever barriers they had put in the place for them being able to seek help. And it's the difference. It's the difference reaching out to a human being and just saying, hey, this is what's going on. I need someone to talk to. I need someone to tell me what's real and what isn't. And, and kudos to you for doing that.
So Deb, I appreciate that. And I appreciate the fact that you put me in such high regard that you believe I reached out. But the truth is, I was on a podcast and Melissa was watching it, and she contacted her friend and said, I need to talk to him. Very interesting. And I just followed her. I followed her lead. I just felt comfortable with it. So I was not brave.
Yeah, you were, because you responded to the message.
Okay.
Do you get
Yeah.
that? There's some
Yes.
people who would have just
Yes.
who would have been like, who's this wackadoo? Or would have attacked her. Because I'm sure, Melissa, you've had that happen before, where you reach out saying, hey, this is going to help you if you listen. And they're like, who are you? Blah, 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 blah.
I
So-
mean, there's a reason I might have reached out to the person he was on the podcast with, which is Aaron. I'm going to call him out. He's willing to talk about it. But I said, hey, Aaron, I see something. I want to talk to William. He's like, oh yeah, he's such a good guy. I'm like, Aaron, listen. And I just he was so excited about the show. I'm like, bring it back. I'm seeing something. I need to talk to William. Can you get him on the phone with me? And he's like, yeah. Can I give him some free time? And I was like, yeah, I want to give him free time too. I need to talk to him. I don't care about the money. I just want to talk to him.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
And that's okay, because there's been others who have been adopted just like that, Bill. That's who I am. That is it. But it's when, and this is who I am as a human, guys. I wake up every morning and I go, all right, God, do what you want with my life. However, I'm an idiot. So light it up like Die Hard. I need it fire on the runway. I need to know where I can land and where I'm supposed to be. And so when I look at something, and I know it's silly, but he knows
It's not
me. I'm
silly,
not
woman. It's
sugarcoating
perfect.
with God,
It's,
right?
you are so good at creating these analogies that are so perfect, because that's exactly how it is.
Well, God gave me that gift, so I use it to communicate with them so we understand each other. But truthfully, I'm like, look, I'm stupid, so do it. I'm easily distracted bird, squirrel. Let's do it. But when I get that tickle, when I'm looking at something, I'm like, no, I know this is that moment. Your name is in my head. Whatever it is, I reach out. And I don't do it for me. I don't care about the money. God said move. I was like, okay. When your dad says go to your room, you go to your room. You don't say why. At least not in my generation. I didn't have a dad, but mom said do it. I did it, right? And so I use that same mentality when God says, because I trust him not to hurt me. I trust that universe, whatever this bigger power is rattling in my brain, you could call it what you want. But for me, my faith guides me, and it has not failed me. When my gut says this person needs you, I show up and go, what do you need? And I listen. And then I just tell them, I know you said this, but I heard this. Am I mishearing you? Because my gut, I can be talking mid-sentence and go, wait, no, I just lied. That doesn't feel right. And I'll say something and my gut says, that's not what you meant to say, or that's not what I wanted you to say, whatever it is. And I'll pull it back and then reword it so it's aligned correctly. And it's not for everybody that way. It really isn't. But when I saw Will, I was like, I got to talk to him. I don't know for what. I don't know if he'll receive it. He, like you said, he could have said, look, I don't know you. You're cool and all, but I don't know you. He could have said, hey, I know 57 other people I could talk to right now. I don't need to talk to you. But he didn't. And then when I poked, he looked at me like, oh, this girl. And I'm sorry, but I'm a mom, so I read micro expressions. I'm like, wait, tell me again. What'd you just say? What was the eyebrows? Those glasses aren't working to hide it. I see through them. And he's like, uh-oh. But she is right. You are brave to say yes, because once you let somebody come poking in those things that you've covered up from the world intentionally, it hurts. It's the thorn bushes you have to move through to get to the other side. But honestly, I'm so proud of you because you didn't have to. And that's the difference. It really is. And I know Nick wants to come on stage and add to this, so I'm going to let her come here real quick. Can
we get Felipe on stage so I can yell at him?
Felipe, get
I'm
up here.
still wanting to do that.
Okay, Felipe, get up here. Let's make this man's dream come true. Nick, welcome to the stage. How you doing?
Hi, good morning. It's funny. I am on my phone and I see this, what looks like this pretty cool room, but I can't see properly. I'm losing my eyesight. Oh, that's awesome.
What?
Well, I know. I'm like babbling. Happy Thanksgiving weekend, first of all. I am loving the conversation, as I always do. But I actually wanted to go back on something you said. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So you talked about clarity doesn't always bring peace. and that, that you're not always going to be clear on things, right? What I like about this is that I find that a lot of people share, in order to reach your goals, you have to have clarity. And a lot of times my goals aren't clear, or even my main goal isn't clear. And then there are times when it is, but the steps to take aren't clear. So, like you say, and I really appreciated this, it's momentum. It's about continuing to move. And I think the biggest part of the clarity that causes the peace for me is knowing that I'm aligned with the way that I show up every moment. So, I'm never afraid that without the clarity, I won't get to where I need to be. So that was actually my share.
I love that so much. And let me just add before you do whatever else you're going to do. It's so important to know that just knowing it's time to move is enough clarity to move, right? It doesn't mean you know what you're doing. You can say, I'm going to get up and clean my house. You stand up off the couch. You have no idea where you're going to start yet, but you know you're starting. That is clarity. And then that momentum of standing gives you new perspective. And then as you move forward, maybe you go, oh, I see this piece of trash on the floor. Let me pick it up. Now you're walking to the trash can. You're like, oh, that's full. Let me empty that. The to-do list will build itself in a house. And if you're ADHD like me, you're going to go through the whole house before you get it all done, because you can't just focus on one room at a time. Before you walk and then you're like, oh, I got to do the laundry. I dropped the towels off. But that clarity of wanting to act starts the process, right? And that's the part, Nick, you knew you wanted to be a publisher, and you did that before you ever left your job. You knew you wanted to do publishing full-time, and you left your job before you knew how you do publishing full-time. And you talked about this journey as you went, which is the momentum that creates clarity for others who are watching your story as they're growing, building, maybe with clarity, maybe with not, but just knowing that passion, that need to move is there. That's so cool, Nick. And you helped me with my momentum because I've written twice with you and both became international best-selling books. And that gave me more momentum because I was clear on my ability to set a goal and achieve it that I had never really fathomed. I knew I wanted to write my story. I knew that was always going to be part of it. I thought maybe poetry. I thought maybe on social media. I didn't always think book. I did think maybe solo book one day when everybody was gone and I could tell the story without hurting feelings. But I never thought collaboration. I never thought a LinkedIn book.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Nick, I mean, you got to give yourself credit too, because
she did it for me too, Melissa. I never thought that writing a book or writing something like that had always been a dream of mine. And it wasn't until Nick came along with the collaboration thing that I took action on it. And so, Nick, yeah, you are the Ripple Queen as well. There's Ripple Queens all over here. But what I wanted to point out, Melissa, was this. What you said about taking action and acting it's the key. There's a quote about how the world doesn't care what you want, think, intend, or wish for. The world only moves for you when you act. And that to me is kind of the phrase that I've been holding on to this whole last year in building a business is the world only moves for you when you act. So what is the action that I need to take?
And that's where I get into make a to-do list, guys, because also I forget. I have so many circles that I can forget the 3 to 5 things each circle might have for me. But if we write it down, we get a partner. And this is where it becomes important. Nick has been my accountability partner for hitting a deadline to get to publishing, right? That's what a publisher does. Could I have taken some of these steps on my own and figured out? Probably, right? I'm not a silly goose. I've done research for a decade. Did I have peace of mind knowing she's done it, replicated it, and over, I could just come to her and she'd be like, girl, get your story, and girl, get your story. Without somebody going, girl, get your story. And I'd never have gone to print because I'm a deadline. When it comes to writing, when it comes to sharing my story on paper, I'm a little temperamental because of my experiences in school. My teachers weren't always the most supportive in the way they criticized or critiqued or whatever. And my life sucked at home, guys. So when the teachers got on me too for something that I really couldn't control, it hurt. So maybe trauma, maybe trigger, whatever you want to call it, but having Nick go, hey, get it in. Hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. Hey, share what you got. It could be 2 lines. I don't care. It helped. And so, Nick, that power and that clarity you give others to just be themselves and do what you got to do, not say sorry. That's something Nick Show talked about a lot when she was having it on Sundays. Don't apologize. Don't say sorry. I love that you share that too, Nick. 100%. Do you want to add there?
I'm just, again, like I said, enjoying the conversation, and I appreciate that, you don't need to be 100% clear in where you are headed in order to be able to bring clarity to others based on the experience that you have, if it is that, like, that experience is going to guide the person, right? And offering clarity, just in the sense of publishing, is very it's very vast, right? So everybody needs a different type of clarity in a process like this, because everybody's facing a different challenge. So oftentimes when you yourself bring just a service to someone and they feel that you've offered clarity to them, that actually reflects back to you in a lot of ways, and in its own way brings clarity to you, because it helps you to keep facing different situations and realizing that instinctually you have what it takes to guide that person. And then you keep discovering as you go that, your mission becomes clearer and clearer. The vision becomes clearer and clearer. I hope this is making some sense.
Oh, it is. That's exactly it. Listen,
but,
guys, clarity creates momentum. Momentum creates clarity. It's the cycle. It's the infinite movement of an object in motion stays in motion. We've heard it said a lot of ways, but the other thing I'll say is you can only be so clear before you move. And then you can get all the to-do lists together you want, but have you ever heard that quote that when you plan, God laughs? And so I want everybody listening to know you can have the best of plan, but if you're not willing to be able to shift your perspective, your mindset, your priorities, you're not going to make it. It can't be all the things all at once. And so, Nick, I appreciate you coming to the stage. I have Felipe here. Guys, I do have a hard stop because I have to go to work today. It is Black Friday weekend and I work retail and it's been fun and I'm grateful I don't have to be there at 4 a.m., but I still got to be there at 8:30 a.m. And so we're about an hour away. Let me jump in here with Felipe. Felipe, welcome. What's coming up for you? How are you loving this right now? Are you loving it? I'm loving it. It feels a little bit like the old audio.
No, this is a great discussion, and it doesn't feel like the old audio. And I love everyone that's been on stage. It's great to hear from Bill and Deb and Nick, and of course you. And I just wanted to shine a light on you, Houston. You have a talent that you found in your life that you're using it to help others, and it's your ability to coach people. You have a natural talent that hits home. You know how to look at someone and be able to just zone in on what the issue is and help guide them to get the help that they want. It's not your vision, it's their vision you're helping become reality. And I give you kudos for that because that's not easy to do. My talent that I always say I've had is being able to see the skills in different people and pair them together, but I don't do anything about it. I just like I think you all should work together, or I think you all should be you all would be great friends, or I think you all should start a business together. Like I see that in people, and it's like almost putting the puzzle pieces together. Like you all belong together, you all click, but you help people move forward. You help people get over those hurdles, and you help them become tenacious. So I just want to give you kudos for that. And Bill, I'm just so happy that you are making progress. That's feel good about every accomplishment every day because that's what it's all about. And
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Deb, you're awesome as always. And Nick, I think you're an amazing person. So I just wanted to say hi and give some kudos and because y'all invited me up.
Can we jump on a Zoom call after this, Felipe?
What's that?
Can we jump on a Zoom call after this?
We can. Oh, what? Not right after, because I have to get ready. Well, I have to get ready for the 12 o'clock Social Saturday chat call.
Okay.
But maybe after that. Oh,
Today sometime.
yeah, the Ohio State game's on, and yeah, we definitely.
Okay,
can.
you guys figure
It'll be
that out.
3
But
minutes.
hold on.
Back.
So listen, Social Saturday chat, guys, go follow Felipe. I love that spot. Also, Felipe, I gotta say thank you for the kind words, because you don't always bring them. We fight and we do careers, chaos, and coaching tomorrow. And guys, if you want to hear us battle it out over some topics, come over. But genuinely, something that I appreciate about Felipe is we have coached each other. I have called him about stuff, and it was like HR relevant stuff. And I knew he was a guy I wanted to ask the question to. And he has called me about moments in his life. And it was just really cool to be able to share that. But also, we come to you guys every week, whether it be on his show with me tomorrow, the CCC brand, whether it be the Workplace Wellness Hour that he does.
I'm sorry, correction. Our show.
Okay, our show. Hold on. Don't interrupt my promo, bro. Ashley and Sumana are his other partners in his other show there. And I got to say, I'm big fans of their work. Ashley uses art and creativity to help people do their thing, which I dig a lot with my crayons and markers. And then Sumana does data to change and focus and really draw outcomes that you can bank on. And I love that too, because as a girl who likes a good ROI as a coach and consultant, we got to know what we're working for. It works. And he does it from so many different places, guys. And this is the part that I wanted to bring up about Felipe, not to pitch him because but because Felipe's Venn diagram is very diverse too, even in the way he shows up on the same platform in the same group of humans. He approaches it differently and taps into his different passions and facets. And, he always has his fives. That's something he can count on. I always have my document that act and the Venn diagrams and the bubbles and all that good stuff. But you guys, you have something about you. Every time you look in the mirror, that's that one thing about you that you can highlight. Bill is able to take a message and just share it. He's able to go live without hesitation. He's able, even in his depression, and Bill and Konya, because you said it, not me, but even when you were struggling personally, you showed up publicly for others. And I'll be honest, guys, that's what I saw. When he was showing compassion to others, I heard him speaking from a firsthand perspective on not wanting people to be insert here. I don't even remember the topic. I just remember knowing, oh, he's talking for real. He understands this. And if he understands this, let me figure out if it's past, previous, future, where are we at? And you guys have a gift to look at something and assess. It could be that, oh my gosh, the decor is off. Let me fix it. And you should be a home designer. Maybe it's a funeral director. I've thought about doing that. I'd be really good at guiding people through like picking the flowers and setting the music and the arrangements and inviting the guest and how to thoughtfully have the conversations. But there's other ways that could be used. Does it mean I can't do that? No, it just means that's not my focus today. But what is it that you want to repeat every day? Nick wants to write. Nick wants to be empowering stories. She's very much into all of that, right? You go look at her profile, you'll see what she lives and breathes. Felipe too, Deb, Bill, we all have our stories. What do you guys tell in the world about? Do you even tell the world what your passions are on your profile? Because that's something else. Like if you're here on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, if you're on social and you're not setting up your profile for people to come to meet you in these events where you are overlapping, breathing the same air, listening to the same stories, having the same lessons shared, then what are you doing? Why are you here? If you're not going to grow together, then, what's the plan? Do you have a plan? Did you never consider growing together or connecting with the people you've been listening in with for 2 hours? All of these people have shows or engage on shows or coach with people who have shows. Why not get to know them and see if they can't collaborate with you in some way, or you can't elevate them or help them? Have the conversation so you can hear what they need and see what's written right there on their face. Are you listening? And if I'm going to be honest, it can't just be others, guys. When's the last time you sat down and listened to yourself? Really looked in the mirror. If I told you the next time you were going to do doom scrolling time, you were going to sit on the couch and not do the act you know you should be doing. If you were going to get in your feels about anything, what if I told you you had to do it in front of a mirror? What if I made you sit in front of the mirror to be ugly to yourself or rude or lazy or whatever, and you just had to look at yourself? Because I promise you, if you put a mirror up near your TV, you're not going to like sitting in front of the TV the whole time. You're going to be looking at the Gilmore Girls or whatever it is you're streaming, and you're going to then see yourself and you'll be like, what are you doing, lump of potatoes? Get up and do something. Maybe not you. That's me. That's me. But if we're not assessing, if we're not reflecting, if we're not looking at ourselves in the mirror long enough to actually look at ourselves in the mirror and not just see if the liner is straight or whatever it is, we need to pause and do that. If you're not assessing what you're thinking and how often you're thinking those thoughts, ask yourself why. The reason those thoughts are there is because there's something your brain's trying to tell you. Subconsciously, it's working on itself even when you're sleeping. And if you're not assessing what it is, if you don't understand why the same 10 things keep popping in your mind day in and day out, you need to figure it out. Because maybe it's the distraction. Maybe there's one person at work who comes in every day and asks you if the coffee's ready. So at 10 a.m., you're thinking coffee when you don't even drink it. Maybe you could say, I don't know, I don't drink it. Stop asking me. That would clear up your 10 a.m. for whatever else is on that list. You really need to assess what your thoughts are so you can understand where they're coming from, why they're coming, what you should do about your thoughts, and if you need to act on them. If you don't need to act on them, why are we having them? It comes back to the grocery list conversation we've had before. If you keep telling yourself milk, cheese, eggs, and butter, you're never going to have time to think about what you and your husband should talk about, what you need to do for your family, what business email you should be sending off instead of thinking about milk, eggs, cheese, and butter. But as soon as you write those 4 things down on paper, boom, you couldn't remember if you tried. If you lost that list, you're out of luck at the store. Does anybody understand what I'm saying and agree? Felipe, Nick, Bill, is any of this resonating for you?
Absolutely. For me, making a list, it frees my mind up to know that I'm not going to forget something and I can go back to that list. And that is something that's why your document and act is so spot on, because when I'm at work, I have my massive to-do list. It looks insane. It's overwhelming. But then every day I take a Post-it and I take 3 things off that list and say, here are 3 things I want to get done. And if I get those 3 things done, I'll feel very accomplished and I can go back to the master list and pick up one more thing. But
Yes.
if it's in my head and it's constantly spinning, I don't know what to do first. I don't know where to start. And I spend more time worrying than acting.
I love that so much. Somebody else jump in, go for it. We got limited time.
I'll jump in. I wanted to just touch on what Deb said about, you have to take action for basically things to happen. And I actually live by a couple of things. God does not help those who do not help themselves. God did not give us a talent for us to waste it. Each of us was given a unique talent in order for us to accomplish the things that we need to in our life. And the last thing that I want to say is, yes, I agree with the lists. It can get very difficult if you don't put something together. And one of the things I love to do is the next morning, I would actually rewrite my list without the items that I had gotten done. And this just keeps like this rolling, reinforcing process in my mind. That's my share.
I love that. And guys, if you're listening, for me personally, what I like to do is 3 lists. Today, which is the next 24 hours. This week, which means 7 days. And then after. And there's no limit to that. And the concept Felipe is talking about of doing 3 to 5 things on the list every day is smart, right? Because 3 to 5 things is a lot, especially if each bullet point can create 3 additional bullet points, creating like a bank account, for example. You have to gather certain points of documentation before you can even go into the bank. So it's going to have its own to-do list of getting and gathering. Then you have to take the action to get there. Maybe you get a flat tire on the way. There's another bullet point added to your to-do list. It gets really overwhelming. But if you look at that 3 to 5 and you're like, oh man, I just keep adding, let me move this one to this week. I can realign tomorrow to take care of that or push it back. And then you can eliminate some of that. And then, like Felipe said, if you get it done early, go back to the list and be like, heck yeah, it took me 8 seconds to do 5 things. Let me get 5 more to try. And it really becomes something you can tackle the biggest list in no time at all And if it's after, you're not hurting yourself by saying, I'm not going to do the garage this weekend. You can do the garage after this weekend. Maybe it's next weekend, but you don't have to stick to that plan if the other to-do lists get overwhelming. Bill, did you want to add?
I just wanted to say I love what Nick said. List, as far as I'm concerned, I use them in my business life, but I don't use them in my personal life. And I think that's one of the things that you and I talked about that I need to start kind of blending. I will start my list, but right now my focus is on getting everything clean. And as I'm doing this, it's kind of cathartic because I'm thinking about all the stuff you told me to think about. So that's it. You've been a blessing. Nick, you're wonderful. Felipe, love you, man. Deb, nice to meet you.
Bill, you just told me you have a list. You're processing and you're cleaning, and each of those bullet points is going to create their own bullet points within your to-do list today. So you have a list. You just didn't have to write it down, and it's only 2 bullet points of I'm processing and I'm cleaning. But that's your list, right? And guys, it can be that simple. I don't have a list, but he just gave me 2 bullet points. That's a list.
Can I add one thing real quick, Houston?
Yep.
Don't mix up your personal list with your business list. When you're off, keep your personal list separate so you focus on you, because once you start seeing the business things slip in, you'll start getting distracted and you'll start chasing you like squirrel. So keep them separate because it's going to help you focus.
Thank you, Felipe.
I love this. Guys, I got to tell you, I was talking to my team too. It's really amazing to me that I've been with the company for 2 years. In the first year, there were some uphill battles. I entered into an industry I had not worked in previously firsthand. I had helped a couple of motorcycle shop owners with parts and whatever. My father-in-law owns his own shop, and I had helped out around there a little bit with some eBay stuff and posting and parts. It was cool. However, when you run into a store where everybody rides and you don't, and I can't because of my arthritis, even if I wanted to, I couldn't. I had to figure out a way to anchor into this team and figure it out. And it wasn't easy. And I came in with the direct command from my authority, like my boss saying, change it, set a new standard, set this new criteria in the store to have it be more community focused. And 2 years later, I'm looking around. I don't work 60-hour weeks anymore. I have a team that they're consistent. They call in, they communicate with each other, they take care of it. I have a team that makes sure that I'm drinking my water and ask me, did you drink your water? They will take the phone away from me at the store because somehow every time it's next to me, my elbow will hit it and it will ring because that's how it works as that phone. And so they'll steal it from me and tell me I'm not allowed to have the phone, and they'll only hand it to me when I need it. It's kind of a running joke, but I have this team that has created what I needed because I communicated and I told them how I work best. And I feel like I only knew how to do that because I had reflected. I knew me. I know if I don't have protein by 10, 11 a.m., I am not a happy person. And it doesn't matter how sparkly I want to be, I am not a happy person. But if I know, hey guys, I have to eat, I'm getting hungry, they go, okay. They give me that 5 minutes. I take a snack, we're ready, and we're back in action. And I respect my team in the same way. And so what I would say today, guys, with all the shares, if nothing else, I just want to remind you, you got to respect other people and how they work if you want them to respect how you work. You need to determine what this looks like for you. Who's in control of your thoughts if it isn't you? Genuinely, who are you giving that power to, and why would you give them that power? For me, I don't have a lot of grace in who I'm giving my thoughts to and how often they get to have them, because I want to be in control of my story. I want to be in control of the narrative. I want to be able to limit what comes in and out of my ears or what I'm thinking, because I have had ugly thoughts. I have been almost 300 pounds and hated every bit of the weight. I hated the weight because of the extra pain it gave me with my back and hip issues. I lost weight. I learned how to do my own diet. I came up with a trick for myself that worked. Lost the weight, and then I started working on my mind. But I got to be honest, I was working on both the whole time, because you can't tell yourself no to something unless you understand how to tell yourself no kindly, without degrading yourself, without moving yourself backwards by trying to move yourself forwards, right? And I have quit smoking. I am 10 years without smoking now. I've lost the weight. I've kept it off. I have gained 10, 15 pounds, give or take, on and off, but I'm back down again. I am at my married weight, which it's been a minute. And I'm moving more than I ever did, even with the ability to say I'm disabled and I could come home and not work if I chose to, but I'm pushing through. And it's not easy, but I feel it's worth it because the longer I use this body, the longer I can use this body. And the longer I use the body, the more time I have to work on the mindset to be ready not to use the body. And this is a truth for me. I know it's coming, but I also have a hip surgery before that happens. And so then I'm getting my mind ready for what happens when I can run. What happens when I can move in a way I haven't moved before? And will my mind be ready? Will I have the friends who want to come run with me? Will I be mentally, physically, emotionally at my peak? So when I'm at my peak, I can be at my peak. It's simple, but not. Right? And you guys got to decide. I got to decide. And I have decided. If you have decided today that you want to work with me, I have a special going for the next 2 people who sign up. It's $2,500 for a whole year of coaching. I don't do that very often. I'm going to be honest. There was something that said somebody needed it. I do take payment plans. You'd have to pay for 1 quarter in ahead. That's it. But do it. If you want less time, if you just want an hour, I have $25 clarity calls right now. William got one. He got one and you heard what happened, right? I have had clarity call after clarity call that had a ripple that was exponential. None of my business except to help out. I give them away and sometimes they don't show up. And so this time they're $25 each just because first time only, I want you to get going. And I don't want you to tell yourself it's too expensive. I take payment plans, even on the $25 if that's what it takes, because I want you to get started, but I want you to invest in yourself and I won't invest in you unless you're ready to. It could be time, it could be money, it could be energy, but I need to know you're committed because it doesn't work unless you do. That's just what it is. But guys, it is time to go. I got to play my song before I run out of time and I can't do it anymore. So thank you for coming. I will be back next week. Friends, thank you for coming to the stage. I can't wait to see you again.
Sunlight creeps through my window pane. Dreams of stars, now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup is a whisper. Conversations open door. Spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight and